Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Oh, was that my cue? Uh, welcome, everybody. That's it. It's going to be one of those days, folks. Welcome to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I am Gaarawarr, and I am tired because I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. But you know what? Some days it be that way. So expect me to be a little loopier than usual, because that's how me being tired manifests. With me today is Gabe. Gabe's going to be grabbing questions from chat, because that's how this show works. The tutorial show, for the first hour, I talk about a topic, and the second hour I answer questions that you've asked in chat on that topic or on anything that has to do with Idle Champions. And Gabe grabs those questions the entire time, because you can ask them at any point in time during the show. And they will put them in a little document backstage for me here, and then I will be able to read them in the second half of the show and answer them. Yeah. Today's topic: Grand Revel Year 7. Grand Revel Year 7. What does Year 7 mean? It means this is the 7th time Grand Revel has appeared in the game. That's what we're talking about. And then we got multiple champions to talk about that are arriving. One brand new one, Presto, from the Saturday morning cartoon from 1983. And then returning from prior years, both Vi and Brother Uriah. We're going to talk about all three of those champions today. Yeah. All right. We're just gonna dive right in. We're gonna dive right in, because otherwise I'm just gonna sit here and stare at the screen for a while, wondering what the heck I'm supposed to do next. Because my mind doesn't want to function at the moment. So events. There's 17 events in a year. They happen roughly every 3 weeks or so. And they all kind of function the same way. Normally you're looking at this screen with these campaigns off to the left. When an event shows up, it shows up right at the top, because it is limited time only, and it is somewhat your first priority. I say somewhat because you're not going to be able to do it constantly. Because when you do events, to do stuff in an event, you need tokens, event tokens, and in this event, they are called fire mints. They drop over time at a rate of about 1 every 25 seconds. There is no way to speed that up. You can't earn more with multiple parties, etc., etc., etc. However, there are consumables in the game that can grant you event tokens. They're called bounty contracts. As long as you pop them during an event, you will get extra event tokens, and you can do more stuff with those tokens. Yeah. So, so when you run out of tokens, though, then you're going to go do something else, and that's fine because event tokens will drop anywhere in the game as long as you're killing enemies. As long as you're killing enemies, right? Along with each event will have its own kind of favor. This is Sune's favor this time around, if I remember correctly. And you'll start out at 0 and you have to build it up. It's not that big of a deal. Events are like mini campaigns that are easier than campaigns. Basically, they have their own kind of favor. They don't have blessings though, because this favor you will use as a multiplier to come back and get extra favor in a permanent campaign of your choice. But pushing is easier because enemies have less health, but they drop more gold. So you can build up favor quicker. You can push further than you might in a normal campaign because of these things. So they're great places to try to get milestone type achievements like push to area 1000 and whatnot, or earn X amount of gold because it's just easier to do in events. So event to event, kind of checking your progress as you go. You can kind of see how you're growing in power throughout the game. To a certain degree. Sometimes the event has bosses on Area 50 that are just the biggest headache. This event boss isn't that bad, but they bring a friend along that can be a little annoying at times. We'll talk about that when we get to it, because we are going to do we're going to hop into free play in a bit. But for now, we're going to talk about the champions, the adventures that you do and the variants. So this is what it's going to look like when you click on the adventure node. And you see you get Vi, Brother Uriah, and Presto. Those are the 3 champions available. Now, this little free play thing wouldn't be here if you hadn't started yet. It would just be the base adventure, and the adventure cost for Vi and Uriah would be like 25 fire mints, and for Presto would be 100 fire mints. Super low cost to do the unlock adventure. That's that first reward that'll be down here will be the champion itself. That's how easy it is to get champions in this game. And just they show up in an event, you do it. Otherwise, time gates. But yeah, events deliver 3 champions for you, up to 3 that you don't have. Yeah. Each champion's kind of adventure is going to have its own formation layout. So you can see Vi's here. Single champion front line with lots of adjacencies. Good for pushing deep and getting favor. Brother Uriah's is a 2 champion front line. Still has lots of adjacencies though. Good for pushing deep, especially so if you don't have a single tank that is really strong and that can take a lot of damage. Splitting the damage up between 2 tanks can sometimes help newer players push further. And Presto comes in with kind of another stretched out single tank front line. Still has lots of adjacencies. I mention adjacencies because a lot of the strongest champions in the game want to be adjacent or somewhat close to within maybe 2 of other champions. And when you have formations like these, it makes it really easy to access that power, especially for new players. A lot of the core champions need your champions to be close. So all 3 of these are pretty good for deep pushing. It's just kind of going to be whichever one you find your champions work best in. Now, once you've done the unlock adventures, as you're doing the unlock adventures, I highly recommend going past the Area 50 just to get the unlock, if you haven't done that yet. Because that's one of the ways you're going to earn favor, right? Push deep on regular adventures and free plays. Once you complete it, it becomes a free play. And then you can do it as many times as you want. But the reward then for each of these is, you'll note these little black and white chests down here, the little grayscale chests. the pictures keep changing. That's because you get a random, it doesn't tell you in the tooltip, but you get a random chest here for that champion. It's either going to be a silver chest or it's going to be a gold chest. There's the 33% chance that on any free play for a champion that to get a gold. But if you're doing a bunch of them, just like say for Vi, and you do 3 in a row and you get 3 silvers in a row, the fourth one, the next one you do for Vi, will give you a gold chest guaranteed. It's called a pity timer. It's a little bit of bad luck protection to make sure that you get a decent amount of gold chests as you're playing. And this is the best way, this is kind of the primary way of getting extra gear for your champions. Because when you get them, they don't have any at all, and then this is one of the ways that you put them on it. I'm going to gear up Presto live on stream a little later, and kind of show you like the most efficient way to gear up a new champion, or your new champions, plural. But these chests are really, that's what you're working for, but you spend these tokens over and over, even if you've unlocked the champions. Even after you've done all these variants, oh my god, where did they come from? You're going to still want to go spend your tokens in here doing free plays. You don't want to spend them in the store. You want to spend them here doing free plays. All right. The other thing that's going to unlock, obviously, when you unlock the champion, is all of these variants. Each champion has 3 variants, event variants. And each variant rewards you a gold chest. It's a guaranteed gold chest as long as you beat the variant. First variant is going to have a goal area of 75, second one 25, third one 75. So one of the ideas is that because you have to keep going deeper, it's going to be harder. But the real difficulty are the restrictions. That's some of this text in these boxes. This is what you have to read to understand how difficult it is. You're also going to get some clues down here with these red X's, which means you can't use champions in those spots. Or this white C, which means that champion is required and they can't be moved. Okay, and we're going to go over each of these. The big thing to keep in mind here is you'll see this difficulty rating is green and it says easy. This is 100% a function of the amount of favor you have. It's this way in events. It's this way in campaigns, too. It has nothing to do with the champions that you have, what gear they have, what other power on your account you have. It's really just looking at favor. It's very much you have to be this tall to ride this ride. That doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it. If it's a roller coaster, you could be way taller than this and not like it at all. Or you might be able to sneak on with some platform shoes and love it, even though you're not that tall. It's just a market indicator of safety, basically. And what it means is if you don't have enough favor to make this green, you might not be able to level up your champions enough to actually complete this. That's really all it's saying. But even if you do have enough favor, there might be extra restrictions and things that make it hard enough that you might need more. To make all of them, each of them has a different amount of favor that makes it show up as green. But to make them all, but to get down and have the third one show as green, and thus all of them show as green, you need 5 EO8 favor or greater. We use scientific notation. That's the E number. That's the number after the E. EO8. That's gonna be around what? 3, 6. 100 million, like 500 million favor, I think. I don't like doing math on the stream. That's why we just use the E numbers. Because I don't like having to figure out what the letters are. Just use E's. It's real easy to watch it go, oh, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, we got there. Then you don't got to translate anything. It's also easier to share with the community. So switch to scientific notation today. You can do that in the settings or by pressing Y on your keyboard if you're playing on a computer. All right, let's go over each of the variants. So each of the variants is going to have a different cost. The older champions, because these are the 2 older champions, have a discounted cost. So 250, 625, 1250. While the newest champion is full price, 1,000, 2,500, and 5,000 fire mints. So keep that in mind. You don't want to just blow through fire mints for no reason. You want to specifically spin, like I said, try to use those unlock adventures to get favor. If you don't have EO8 by the time you've unlocked all 3 champions, do a free play. Free plays start off at 500 tokens per free play, but they go up by 500 every time you do a free play. They cap at 2,500. So you can do cheap free plays by alternating between each of them until you have enough favor to then do the variants. Then you're going to spend the rest of your time doing free plays. That's just the way events work currently. All right, let's go through Vi's variants and the restrictions. Timing is everything. Vi starts in the formation. She can be moved but she cannot be removed. We're going to shorten that because that's way too long. Vi's Arcane Cannon Ultimate starts out unlocked, so you get the ability to use her ultimate right away. All champions' base attack cooldown speeds are increased by 8 seconds. So you're not really attacking often. If you activate Vi's second use of her Arcane Cannon Ultimate in the last 5 seconds of the ultimate's duration, this is a whole thing, its cooldown is immediately reset. What they're trying to get you to do here is kill everything with her cannon. Because she has this ultimate that basically you call out this metal cockatrice and it just starts attacking everything. And if you hit her ultimate again, if you activate it again, while right at the end, it will jump out and explode and do AoE damage on things. And then because this restriction says, hey, if you do that, you immediately get it back. You can play a very active version of this variant and kill that way. Or you can just build a regular party and kill stuff. Maybe use fire breath potions. I mean, there's lots of ways to do this, but they're trying to teach you to use your ultimate. In general, it's not a difficult variant, so as long as everything is easy, normally that means you're not going to have a problem. I will mention it otherwise. Time for a good hug is the next one. Vi starts in the formation. She can't be moved or removed. That's this white C down here. That's for champion. You can only use neutral and on the good and evil axis and evil champions that have the DPS role, and you can only use good champions that have the support role. So what they're trying to get you to do here is use good or evil, neutral or evil champions on that specific axis as your DPS, and good champions that as your support. That's kind of what they're trying to lean you towards, because she has things that buff for that kind of stuff. Again, you should be fine. I mean, there's a lot of starter champions here that are going to fit in these guidelines. It should be okay. But if it's not, if for some reason you're down a champion, just get an extra EO1 favor per champion you're missing, and you're fine. And with these kinds of restrictions, that's kind of how you can make it easy. Double our efforts. 2 explorers join the formation. That's these red X's in the back. So you're down 2 champions. That's a big deal. That's a lot. Two champions bring a lot of power. So recognize that this is the biggest restriction you've seen so far. Good champions, they deal no damage and can't be moved. Good champions deal no damage with their base attacks. That means that you can have good champions in your formation. They're not going to be killing anything, because again, Vi buffs neutral and evil champions. So make sure the neutral is on the... If you see neutral good or neutral evil, that's not the neutral we're talking about. The neutral, you can't see good or evil on their alignment. We'll point that out when we get inside. All right, all non-boss area quest requirements are doubled. Normally it's 25 to clear a level, so that means it's going to be 50. Twice as many monsters spawn with each wave, so at least it's not going to take longer. They're going to give them to you right away. But monsters drop half the amount of gold. So stacking a lot of restrictions here, but it's fine. Oh, look, the gold one is not that big of a deal. It just really isn't. You're going to want to potentially, unless you just have some really strong champions, If you're newer, you're going to potentially want to get another, EO2 favor. So you're going to want to shoot for the E10 range to make up for these two champions. And the monsters dropping half the gold is fine because you got to kill twice as many of them on every level. So you're getting the same amount of gold per level. You're going to be fine. All right. All right, let's talk about Brother Uriah. Brother Uriah, for the first one, perhaps I'd be safer in the middle. And look, he wants to be in the middle. He forces himself to be in the middle. Brother Uriah joins the formation. He can't be moved or removed. Only champions in the middle two columns, that's these two, can deal damage. That's it, because basically Brother Uriah is going to buff here and here, which we'll talk about in a bit. So they're just trying to teach you how to buff with Brother Uriah. Pretty straightforward. Not really a bad restriction at all. Perhaps an escort is in order. We're going to get 2 NPCs taking up slots. Remember, you're going to need a little more favor. Now, as long as this shows green, that should be more than enough to overcome the problems here. So Brother Uriah joins the formation. I can talk. He can be moved, but not removed. Uriah's Ezra's Embrace ability starts unlocked. So you get him right away. 2 ravens join the formation. Every 10 seconds, a boulder falls on a random champion, dealing 25% of their total health and damage. So Brother Uriah is a healer. Spoiler alert. And that's the ability that they're unlocking. So they basically want to help you heal by giving you that right away, but they're hurting you so you learn how to heal. This is not a healthy relationship. You're going to want to put I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to want to put your Brother Uriah either here, right above this X, or right above this X. Because those are the 2 places in this formation that Brother Uriah will be able to heal everyone from. Anywhere else, and people potentially going to die. Okay? Okay. So keep that in mind. One of the ways I like to make this easier is using, if you have any champions that have shields that can shield a party, now's a good time to bring them out. Because don't put a lot of tanks in. You don't want a lot of health, because if the shields can be bigger than your health total, then the damage from the boulders falling on them comes out of the shields and never actually hurts them. Okay. Alright, perhaps we should make haste. Brother Uriah joins the formation. He can be moved but not removed. You may only use champions from the Black Dice Society affiliation, who Brother Uriah is a part of, or champions with a normal attack cooldown of 5 seconds or less. So he wants fast attackers, and that's all you're going to be able to field. Those 2 groups. Yeah. So if you can't field a full formation, remember, for each missing champion, EO1 more favor is gonna help. You might still be able to do it. One of the ways you can test this out is just going into a free play for Brother Uriah and only using champions that meet this qualification in the free play and seeing if you can go 175 areas. Because there's no other restriction here. If you can, great, then you can knock this one out easily. If you can't, then in that free play, then change your champions over to a full normal formation. Push deep, get some more favor. Try it again another free play. Pretty easy. Pretty straightforward. All right. Let's talk about Presto's, the newest champions variants. Magician. Magician. I don't think that's how that song goes, but it does now. Presto joins the formation. He can't be moved or removed. He's all the way back here. See him? That's the C. Only champions in the 2 columns in front of Presto can deal damage. So your DPS has to be in one of these 2 columns. And that's because that's where Presto buffs. They're trying to teach you, this is where you have to put the champions if you want to get their power. This isn't really a bad restriction. It might be a little slower to get to 75 simply because Presto and these 3 champions and this champion up here, so half your champions aren't going to be doing any damage. But it's fine. It's fine. Just a little slower, but you'll still get there. The Last Illusion. Presto joins the formation. He can be moved, but not removed. Varla also joins the formation. And obviously, she's going to be where the X is. Champions next to her attack faster as their base attack cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds. Great. So your DPS wants to be somewhere next to her. Only monsters that have a debuff can take damage. Well, this one's look. Fortunately, Presto has a debuff. Unfortunately, he's a single target champion who attacks the closest enemy, so more often than not, that means you're going to end up with enemies potentially built up on your tank while you wait to kill those and debuff the next thing. It could be a problem. It shouldn't be. If you have a champion like Esmeralda, she has a spec that debuffs every enemy that spawns on the screen. She's great for this. But newer players aren't going to have Esmeralda, and don't go chasing Esmeralda just because you want to clear this easier. You can do it with Presto. It'll be fine. Again, wait until everything shows as green, and your extra gold will let you level up champions so that you can just soak this up and destroy everyone. It'll be fine. It's Venger time. I don't want it to be. Presto joins the formation. He can be moved but not removed. At the start of each boss area, Venger arrives on his nightmares, an additional boss that must be defeated. Folks, if you don't know, Venger is one of the big bads from the cartoon. So double bosses. What does it mean? It means pain, usually. You may only use champions that have a magic base attack, an age of 20 or younger, or have a total ability score of 78 or lower. That crosses a large number of champions. You should be able to come up with a somewhat viable formation. Again, extra favor if you're worried, test it in a free play. Please. If you are new and you don't know that you can just smoke this, test it in a free play. You're not going to get double bosses, but that's fine. Build with only these groups. See if you can do it, because this is 5,000 tokens. It's a lot of tokens. Don't waste them, because you spend these to start the adventure, and or the variant, and if you fail, well. And staying in an adventure and trying to grind gold for days is not how this game works. Please don't. Please don't stay in any adventure longer than half an hour at your wall. It's bad. It's bad. All right, folks. We're going to hop in to Presto's free play, and we're going to talk about each of the champions. Reminder, I'm live on the Cena Games channel. No, that's not the reminder. Reminder, if you have questions about any of this, please ask with question : in front, like it shows down there and that the bot put in chat. Because so far I only got like 3 questions, and 2 of them have nothing to do with what we're talking about today. All right. Let's see here. We got Presto coming in over here. We got Brother Uriah's down here, and Vi is over here. Boom. Presto, as it were. Okay, let's spread these out a little bit. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. Ignore the hitching and pausing that's going on. As I'm sure you're all dealing with. They'll fix that hopefully soon. It's really annoying. All right. Let's talk about each of these champions. We're going to talk about Vi first because I said so. Vi is a female gnome artificer who joins us from Acquisitions Incorporated, the live show. She's neutral good. This is not the kind of neutral that she's looking for to buff, ironically. She's a support gold and speed roll champion. So those are the 3 things she does well. Acquisitions Incorporated is a affiliation. It's not a. I don't know that it's complete. I would have thought it was, but then they added certainty drawn recently, so who knows who might get added in the future. Um, eh. But there's enough there that you can do some cool stuff with the affiliation. Her base attack is not currently available because she's bored. We're going to talk about that. She has a base attack. It's fine. Here we go. First ability, though, a good example. So neutral, again, on the good-evil axis. Champion's damage is increased by an amount for each good Acquisitions Incorporated or C-Team champion in the formation, and this stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. So, Vi likes to be in formations that have lots of champions that meet one of these 3 requirements, and she wants your DPS to be neutral. There's a way to adjust this later, but base functionality, she wants neutral. And that means the neutral would be on the right-hand side of this statement, not the left. Okay. If you put her in for anyone else, she doesn't buff them. It's just that she just doesn't. So keep that in mind. Catch and release. This is why she's bored now. Oh no. We can't see this because she's bored now. We'll get there. Instead of a base attack with her pistol, that's her base attack. There's a 10% chance. Is it 10? There's a 10% chance Vi takes out her comically oversized blunderbuss and fires at a random normal enemy. So it doesn't work on bosses or barricades. This instantaneously transforms the enemy into a small glowing crystal sphere. They just fall on the ground and they sit there. That has 1% of a normal enemy's health. Thus, the health scales as you go further, and is worth an additional amount of gold when defeated. When changing areas, any remaining spheres are automatically killed, and the gold from them is automatically collected. So this is her gold find thing, but it's also a cool way to just kind of get rid of some champions that you don't like. Enemies, it has interesting functionality when you have a bunch of spheres on the ground and the enemies aren't attacking you. It's kind of nice. What did I? She has a feat that will increase the chance that she'll do that. Just a couple of them. Yeah, we'll do that. So, like here now, it's a 20% chance, right? I'm too old for this. Yeah, she says it, but we don't say it here. This is why she's bored now. If there are 5 or fewer enemies on the screen. So you're killing things very quickly, like we're doing right now. Vi waits impatiently instead of attacking with her base attack. And there is a variable chance, like it'll go up, a changing chance that the second monster in each wave will spawn alongside the first one. This is her speed effect. She's basically helping enemies spawn faster, sort of. If multiple enemies spawn in a wave, like those two just did, they're going to spawn alongside each other instead of sequentially. Because normally it stretches out and a wave could be ding, 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 and kind of slowly follow each other out. And that's a wave. Vi gets rid of that wait time. So you can just kill them both right away. When it says there's a percent chance and the number is over 100%, that means there's a chance that more enemies could spawn if there were more enemies in a wave. Because a wave can be 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies, depending on the type of level. So you could potentially spawn them all at the same time if it was a bunch of them. Again, it's just another function of her speed ability. I can't get no satisfaction. Vi gains 1 SAS stack for each second she spends impatiently waiting. So like we're doing right now. A good example is increased by 0.33% for each SAS stack, stacking multiplicatively. Multiplicatively is a good way, but when you're multiplying with a tiny little percentage, you gotta have a lot of stacks for it to matter. SAS stacks are capped at 10 times the highest area unlocked in the current adventure. Oh, there's my base attack. So the highest area we're at right now is 10. So our cap would be 100. So you can get to some pretty high, multiplicatively stacking numbers. Basically, Vi gets better the further you can push in an adventure. Okay. All right, let's talk about her specializations. Bless their hearts, which is a southern insult. If you didn't know that, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Positive reinforcement and a nudge in the right direction. So, bless their hearts, evil champions also benefit from a good example's damage increase. So this is how you can make it so that you're not just stuck with neutral DPS. You could have an evil DPS. Positive reinforcement. Good champions also benefit from a good example's damage increase. So if your DPS is good, so these are the ways you get around that restriction of neutral. Neutral is the default. You can make it evil or good. And a nudge in the right direction. This increases the effect of a good example by 200%. So that buff triples. And that's if you're using... So basically, if you're using an evil DPS, you choose Bless Their Hearts. If you're using a good DPS, you choose Positive Reinforcement. If your DPS is neutral on the good and evil axis, you choose a nudge in the right direction. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right. Let's throw a familiar down here. Arcane Cannon. I just want to make sure. Sometimes they sneak in some higher level updates. All right, Arcane Cannon is the ultimate, and it's the one that we talked about earlier. So the first time the ultimate is hit, a metal cockatrice appears next to her and starts dealing ultimate damage. Ultimate damage is based off your bud. That's this number over here. Base ultimate damage. To the closest enemy every second for 30 seconds. Here it is. And it's just going to start spitting on things, okay? The second time the ultimate button is hit, the cockatrice flies to the middle of a swarm of enemies and explodes, dealing 1,000% ultimate damage to all enemies in an area attack. That's this timer. That gives you a nice visual. It's counting down for you. When you see it get up here into the final part, it's going to change colors, and that's when you want to hit the button. Easier to do when you're in here in the red. Boom, there it went. It blew up. Okay? Now, in that one variant, if I did it timed in that with it in the red, I'd get it back right away. Get it back right away. But it is just a constant damage barrage. And it's good for if you're attacking hit-based bosses like Nanny Poo Poo. Although, they hit-based things like this, it would help take out. I should have saved it for this. Stuff like that. It can even take out armored bosses faster if your bud is high enough to take off chunks of armor. All right, itemization. We have a damage of all champions items. You get to buff. Good example. You get to buff catch and release. That's the speed effect. Or excuse me, no, that's the gold effect. Excuse me. You get to buff. I'm too old for this. That's the speed effect. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feats are all across the board. We get damage all champions. We get gold find. You buff a good example. You can buff the gold off catch and release, and the chance that it's going to trigger. So you can go real gold find focus for her if you want. You can buff her speed function. You can buff the multiplicatively stacking effect. Yeah. So all across the board, a lot of variety, useful variety for Vi in terms of buffs. All right, let's talk about her achievement over here. Now, every champion arrives in the game and brings 5 new achievements, but really the one that matters is the one that's talking about like you using their abilities. So with Vi, hold on, just got moved. It's up here, itchy trigger finger, because it got changed at one point. Trigger the secondary effect of Vi's arcane cannon within 5 seconds of the ultimate expiring 25 times. Look, folks, you just got to do it manually. There's no automating that. There just isn't. Like, you can't put a familiar on it. It's going to click it again right away. So you're just going to have to manually trigger her ultimate 25 times. That variant is a great place to do it, because if you do that, you get it back right away. Just so you know. Just so you know. All right, let's talk about Brother Uriah. Brother Uriah joins us from the Black Dice Society. This is a complete affiliation, so all the champions are in the game. Male human cleric, lawful good, a healing and support champion, and they cast Toll the Dead as their base attack. This is a magical attack. You can tell by the little magic missile symbol. Uriah points at a random enemy and deals damage, preferring enemies that are already damaged. There you go. Base buff, first ability, Doomed in Darkon. Brother Uriah increases the damage of all champions in his column and the column behind him by an amount that varies. So this is, you want to make sure that you're placing him either in the same column as your DPS or right in front of your DPS. Ezra's Embrace. Brother Uriah heals all champions within 2 slots for 10 health per second, and this can get adjusted. This effect is increased by 25% for each formation slot containing a dead champion or an escort, stacking additively. Okay, so in that one variant, they put 2 escorts in the formation, and so he's going to get 50% more healing done because of those 2 escorts. There are champions. Now, it doesn't mean like your champion died. It does mean that. It can mean that, but that's kind of pointless because then you just lost all that champion's power. There are champions, there's in this affiliation, that actually count as dead. They count as dead because they're dead for reasons. All right. So, you know, pairing them with those kind of champions boosts healing. In the grip of Aslan Rex, after 100 normal attacks by champions in the formation, Aslan Rex takes over Brother Uriah for 60 seconds. While controlled by Aslan Rex, Aslan Rex is a bad person. Let's just put it that way. Brother Uriah increases the damage of Nahara, who is one of the Black Dice affiliation champions, and all evil champions by an amount. This ability means Brother Uriah is a support for either Nahara or evil champions, evil DPS, period. It doesn't matter that his main buff can buff anyone. If you're not getting this buff, you're leaving a lot on the table. You want all the buffs. Okay? When Aslan Rex takes over, Brother Uriah becomes Brother Uriah. Literally. They put little like quote marks around names so you know they're in the grip of Aslan Rex. So it's great. I love it. Attention to detail. All right. Specializations. You can either read from the Book of Exalted Deeds or read from the Book of Vile Darkness. Results are as expected based on the titles. Brother Uriah reads from the Book of Exalted Deeds, making undead and fiends his favored foes, and all champions deal an additional amount of damage to them. So, yay. If you want to create undead and fiends for some reason, because there are a lot of champions that function off of favored foes, like if you want those to be your favored foes, he doesn't create them, but he turns them into favored foes, which other champions can trigger abilities off of. Then Book of Exalted Deeds is the choice. However, because you really are a buffer for either Nahara or evil DPS, Book of Vile Darkness tends to be the general go-to, because he reads from that and increases the effect of In the Grip of Aslan Rex by a large amount. So more often than not, that should be what you're leaning into, because you should be running Brother Uriah with either Nahara DPS or evil DPS. You can do it anyone else, just know that you're not buffing as much as you could be otherwise. Ultimate, yeah, we're just going to talk about the ultimate. All right, Blade Barrier. Brother Uriah creates a wall of whirling, razor-sharp blades of magical energy and sends them flying across the screen. The blades come to a stop a short distance in front of the formation. I don't know that that's true. We're going to see in a second. Forming a barrier that lasts for 10 seconds. Each time an enemy passes through the barrier, they take ultimate damage. Here we go. Nope, see, that's not stopping a short distance in front of the formation. So that text is wrong. So it flies out through everything that might be built up and then sits near the spawn point. And as an enemy walks through it, they take damage. And if you do knockbacks and push the enemy through it again, they take damage again. And then they walk back through it again and they take damage again. Interesting combo. Let's talk about itemization. So we get a damage all champions item. We get Doomed in Darkon, so the base buff. Ezra's Embrace, this is your healing item. And then In the Grip of Aslan Rex is the buffing for evil and Nahara, right? Then you actually get an item that buffs their specializations, which is why my specializations were funky numbers instead of normal numbers. So you can actually build that up too. And then you can reduce the ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, because support, you see damage all champions, and then you get targeted ability stuff. So we get Doomed and Darkon, we get Ezra's Embrace in the Grip of Aslan Rex. So again, this is a healing one, and technically that should be a plus symbol so that you know that it's healing. You can increase the duration of In the Grip of Aslan Rex, which frankly, yeah, I mean, if you're doing this right, you want those. That's why I've got those slotted, because the longer he's in the grip, the more buffing he's putting out, right? And then we get a really cool one. I love it when they do neat stuff like this. Faithful Reward increases Ezra's Embrace to heal targets within 3 slots. So if a formation is very stretched out, like, kind of this one is, you can put him somewhere here, slot that feat, and he'll still be able to heal all the way back here, 3 slots away. So a nice feat that offers you some neat functionality. Hey, here's Vi's Crystal Sphere. See it? We can click on that and do damage because it doesn't have as much health as everything else. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to clear the screen with her ultimate. This is, like I said, this is the cool way to get through some of this debris. All right, and now on to, oh, wait, achievements. Hold on, the game paused itself. All right. My sorrows for your troubles. Trigger In the Grip of Aslan Rex again within 30 seconds of its effect expiring. Oh my god, I can talk. Now, again, this is based off attacks. 100 attacks. So the best way to do this is in an adventure that lets you have 10 champions on the field. So you have as many people attacking as possible, and try to have people who attack fast, or add champions that buff attack speed, like Whittle or Human or Virgil, so that you can get those 100 attacks in. Now remember, you're going to get 60 seconds is the bait. Oh no, wait, no. 60 seconds is the extended duration because I have those feats in. My bad. 20 seconds is the base. So this means you would need to have 100 attacks. After that starts, you would need 100 attacks in 50 seconds, inside of 50 seconds normally. If you can put the feats on, though, it's going to be inside of 90 seconds, which makes it a lot easier. But these feats are not easy to come by. So you just need a lot of attack speed, folks. You need a lot of attack speed for that achievement. Or try it in a variant that, if there's a variant that speeds up people's attacks. There you go. All right, let's talk about Presto. Presto's male human wizard that comes to us from the Saturday Morning Squad, of which they're the only member. What does that tell us, folks? That tells us this is not a thing usually. You usually only see affiliation if there's multiple members. This tells us CNE plans to add the other kids from the cartoon. It's a dead giveaway. Alignment neutral good. They are pure support. Their base attack is magic. Imagine that. Presto's hat. Presto takes his hat off, pulls out a random projectile, and throws it at the nearest enemy, dealing 1 hit. And you'll see it here in a second. The hat comes off, he throws something out, and it hits them. That's it. It's real straightforward. Well, let's talk about their ultimate, because it's already up. A hat full of havoc. Presto fires assorted objects from his hat at his enemies, debuffing them and changing the weather. There are 3 different weather effects that Presto can create. That one was fireworks that came out, and now there's fog. There's a tornado that creates rain, and there's something else, and I can't remember off the top of my head, and they don't tell us. Oh, no, they do tell us. Hold on. It's right here. Snowballs. And the weather changes to snow. It's fantastic. Weather changing effects are great with Virgil. Virgil's a storm sorcerer. So the more you change the weather when you're in a party with Virgil, the more they buff. And then crowd control effects, because each of those ultimates fires off some kind of crowd control effect on everyone on the screen. Lucius is great at triggering off of crowd control effects. So there are champions that you pair this stuff up with, or just enjoy them on their own. Hesitant Helper is the main buff. Presto increases the damage of champions in the 2 columns in front of him by 200%. So right now he would reach those 2, or we could move him up here for these 2, right? That's how that's going to work. Pretty straightforward. Had a many spells. So this is a function of their base attack. Presto's attacks cause monsters hit by them to take 100% more damage. This stacks multiplicatively up to 5 times. There is a visual indicator for this. We're not going to see it here because we're killing everything. But there are these purple, empty purple balls, 5 of them, over an enemy's head once he's attacked once. The first one will be filled in, and then as you attack subsequent times, they fill in up to 5. So a very easy to see visual effect when you get to enemies that when you get to the point where you're not killing enemies in one hit like we're kind of doing here. And again, multiplicatively stacking is the good way. In addition, a secondary effect occurs depending on the projectile. So he can pull 3 different things out of his hat. One is a birthday cake, which slows the monster hit by 50% for 5 seconds. The other is a skateboard, which knocks the enemy back a short distance. And the other is a rotary phone that stuns an enemy for 2.5 seconds. And if you are really young, the term rotary phone probably stuns you for a lot longer while you try to figure out what that is. Google it. Ultimate hat trick. This is the ultimate unlock and explains what everything does. So this is the snowballs, the fireworks, and the tornado. Specialization choices. We can be humble heroes. We can be junior juggernauts, or we can choose magical mastery. So, really what's going on here is we're looking for the number. This is one of those straightforward ones. You're looking for the largest number. That's it. So, Humble Heroes, you're buffing based off the number of champions that have an ability score of 78 or less. Junior Juggernauts, it's buffing champions based off age of 20 or less. And Magical Mastery is buffing based off the number of magic base attack champions. Okay, so you pick the higher one. It's real straightforward. I'm going to come back and talk about one of his abilities in a second. I want to go over them all first, because when we get to items, it's important. Now I'm scrolling. You see I'm scrolling, and this is why I was like, sometimes you got to scroll down, because sometimes they sneak something in on you. Way down here. Component Scavenger. This is a unique ability in the game. It's brand new. Presto can help scavenge up to, currently, right now, 2,040 Modron component pieces when killing a boss. That cap, that amount they can scavenge up to, is 2,000 plus the number of days Presto has been released. Not that you've earned Presto, but the number of days since Presto released. This is because this cap is a fixed cap. Total. That you can earn. So if you reach it, like if I were at 2040, I wouldn't be able to scavenge any more Modron component pieces until tomorrow, and then I can scavenge 20 more. And then the next day, I can scavenge 20 more. Okay? So it's constantly going to go up over time. Presto has a 10%, while the cap is not reached, Presto has a 10% chance of scavenging 1 component piece each time a boss is defeated. This needs to be clarified, and I think they're going to work on it. It's the first time a boss is defeated. If you sit on a boss level and just try to kill the boss over and over again, that doesn't work. Because loot like this that gets added to a boss loot comes from the boss bag that gets dropped. And the boss bag only drops the first time you kill a boss on an area. Okay? So I knew what this meant, but not everybody does. The loot is always in the boss bag. You can only get it once per boss. There's a chance once per boss. All right. It's going to track your components scavenged, and Presto's achievement, which is called Presto Changeo, you have to scavenge 200 components. Okay. Now, this is a 1 in 10 chance, and there's no pity timer. There's no bad luck protection. You could kill 100 bosses, not loot anything. That's how RNG works. That's how random number generation works. It is what it is. Okay. I tested it out over 1,000 and something areas. I think 60 areas, and I got 10%. You might do 1,000 areas and get like nothing, frankly, because when there isn't any kind of bad luck protection, that's just what can happen. That's just what can happen. So, this does work in offline progress and in background parties, but again, background parties and offline progress are simulations, and it may not work as well as it might work in an active party, but it's all RNG anyway, so who knows? It's you're never really gonna know. Like, you just kind of have to trust it. Like I said, I ran for over 1,000 areas the other day. It matched up pretty correctly, and they are dropping in background and offline. All right. Now I would love to talk about itemization, but I don't have any items. We're going to gear them up in a moment. So let's jump straight to feats. We get damage all champions. We get hesitant helper, had a many spells. This is the debuff. You get specializations, which is nice. And you can increase the strength score by 1. This would qualify them for Patron Zerial. On launch day, they kind of gave us a spoiler of a +2 con feat. That would qualify for them for Vajra, but clearly that one's not ready for prime time yet, so that'll arrive at some point in the future. So itemization is important, especially for Presto. Let's go back and talk about this real quick. Had a mini spells. A lot of mini spells does not get any upgrades while leveling. The only thing really that gets upgrades while leveling is their base buff. But it is multiplicatively stacking, and whenever you have a value that is multiplicatively stacking, an ability that is multiplicatively stacking, what you want to check for is if it has an item or feats that support it. And when you check that, you want to look to see, is it adding to the base value, or is it adding to what we call the post-stack value? So pre-stack or post-stack. So Hat of Many Spells, I'm going to throw the feed in here, adds pre-stack. This is the OP way. This means that you can raise the starting multiplier with the feats and also the item. So the item effect, once we get an item here, this is going to go up even more. And the more item levels you put in, the more that base number becomes, the bigger it becomes, and thus and then that stacks multiplicatively with itself. It's the strongest kind of ability in the game. Some champions have multiple of these. Some of them stack more than 5 times and have item support. So this is one of the big deal abilities you're looking for. But please understand, it's not a big deal until you've invested not just hundreds of item levels in it, which it'll be strong, but like thousands. So Presto may not look super strong to new players right outside the box. Just know he is a champion that once you invest in their itemization becomes very strong for you. Okay. So he has 2 feats that can assign here. Remember, feats are not additive when they're percentages. I ran into one that breaks that rule the other day. But the general rule of thumb is that they are multiplicative. So now if we come over here, I'm at 168%. One away from it being 100 nice. So we're going to add some itemization. We're going to see what this pops up to. Now, I want to, for those who were paying attention during class, the magical mastery, the specializations also stack multiplicatively. However, a quick pop in of a feat tells us that it's post-stack multiplier. Womp womp. Still, multiplicatively stacking is good. It is still good. If you have a lot of champions that match that, that's still a big number, and that's nice to have. In fact, I mean, this is going to be one of my go-to feats, is to throw that one in, and then I'll want like this one, right? But ultimately, you want something that's pre-stack. You really want something that's pre-stack. So let's talk about getting items on your champion. So you loot a bunch of different kinds of chests. Some you get from streams like this one. In fact, I did not put mine in today. Let's throw a code in chat, and the bot's gonna wait. Why? There we go. There we go. And then I click on this and I put it in here, and it automatically expands to 16 when you copy and paste. Otherwise, the button's down here in the bottom left. And this gives you Electrum chests. Electrum chests are super important for new players, especially because they can give you gear for every champion you own. So it helps you to level up, to gear up, increase the rarities of all of your champions. But they only do so up to blue rarity gear. So white, greens, and blues. Blue is very rare. So really you're shooting for like greens out of your Electrums. But it's really important when you get a new champion, if you are like me and all of your other champions have gear. Literally all of them have full gear and the highest rarities. And this one has nothing. Okay, what happens is instead of popping an Electrum chest and it potentially going out to 31 champions in the game now, Presto is going to be a funnel. And when I pop that Electrum, the gear is going to go right on Presto. Okay, and this is as long as you have a blue or better gear on all your champions, and then you get new champions in an event, all those Electrums are going to aim at new champions. Okay. So opening your Electrum chests first when you get new champions from an event or a time gate, because time gate champions are event champions. This is going to be the first step in efficiently gearing up your champions. The target in efficiently gearing up your champions is blue, not purple. Because purple gear, epic gear, is just pure RNG. There's no way to force that in an efficient way. So, but we can get to blue super efficiently, and we do that with the rules of the way these chests drop loot. Electrums, completely random. But it will give you an upgrade if it can, and that's why it will target a naked champion first, because it's a guaranteed upgrade, so it'll target that first. Silvers, same rule. Random, white, green, blue being very rare, will target empty slots or upgrades first. But gold chests have a different rule. Regardless, all the gold chests that drop gear have a different rule. And that is that they guarantee you an upgrade to either green or blue rarity. Not epic, not the purple, but green or blue. Now, you do not, it is kind of inefficient for you to pop a gold chest and get a green, right? So what we want to do is let those guaranteed upgrades get us blue in 6 chests or less, right? And to do that, we open the Electrums first, because the only way they're going to target our champion is if they don't have any gear on them. So if I can demonstrate, this is going to be a piece of gear for Presto in here. There it is. And it was a green. So we already got what we're shooting for, green or better, out of Electrums and silvers. From the first one, the second one's going to do it again. Boom. I got another green. Great. Can I get 3 greens in a row? I can. This is doing great. Can I get full green in 6 chests? I cannot. I got tricks of the trade, but that's fine, right? So in 4 chests, I got 4 pieces of gear straight for Presto, which normally, if it were dropping across 131 champions, would not happen. But its drop rules make it so that it will. It will focus this champion. My next 2 chests are going to go to Presto. Guaranteed. There's another green. And there's another green. Now, was that a duplicate? It was. So one of mine, the one that had a white, got the green upgrade because it dropped a green, and hey, it could upgrade Presto, so it did. And now one more and we'll have all 6 item slots filled, and it's a green. And there's my achievement. Okay. So at this point, I got really lucky. What was it? 7 chests, and I got my target of all green gear. If I hadn't, for some reason, if you had lots of champions who didn't have green or better, and you still ended up with a mix of white and green here, maybe even empty, then silvers would be the silver named chests for Presto. After you ran out of electrums, used them all, silver named chests would be the next thing to pull. And because it's going to try to give you white and green and maybe a blue. Just maybe, maybe. Oh, we're not going to get one. But they'll help to get you to greens as well. Okay. That's kind of what you're doing. Now, one of the other reasons you're going to do electrums first, again, it's going to funnel. And then you do the silvers because they're all guaranteed to go to Presto. And they're going to give you those duplicate item levels that make his gear stronger. Now I know that every time I open a gold chest, it's going to give me a blue or a purple because I'm already at green gear for Presto. Okay, so 6 gold chests are all you need to get to. It'll actually be at least 5 blue, 1 purple with 6. And that's because gold chests have pity timers. They have bad luck protection. You can see it as the purple bar at the bottom. The first time you encounter a gold chest in the game, like a specific gold chest, the pity timer is 4. So in your first 4 chests, you're going to get an epic piece of equipment. That's why with 6 chests, you're going to get 1 epic, 5 blue across your new champion. Guaranteed. You might get lucky and get multiple epics. But everyone, if you're participating in the event, you're using all your tokens, like we've talked about today, everyone should leave an event with all their new champions, at least with 1 epic and 5 blues. More epics if you're lucky. Okay. More epics if you're lucky. So what I'm going to do, actually, you can get with this many, I can go all the way to blue just from electrons because there's so many. Which is fine. And then I'm just going to dump all of these. Now you'll notice I had 101 silver chests and like 76 golds, and you're like, what? Bounty contracts. Remember at the start of the stream I said bounty contracts get you extra tokens? Yeah. How do you get bounty contracts? I mean, I had like 400,000 tokens. How do you get bounty contracts? Gold chests. Just open up lots and lots of gold chests. And then save them for events. And then here I'm going to get full epic because the worst luck possible, running the pity timer every time, it takes 54 gold chests to get full epic. But generally you get it somewhere in the 30s. There's all 6 epics. Okay. So now we're going to go over and we're going to look. Remember, now I have an item for Hat of Many Spells. That's the multiplicatively stacking one with pre-stack item support, item and feat support. So Hat of Many Spells now 888.7% damage. Dang, I need like one more item. I want that 8888. So instead of 100% times 100% times 100% times 100% times 100%. So instead of, that's basically 2 to the 5th. Instead of 32 times damage, I'm now going to be at, let's see if I did this right. E14 debuff. Instead of a 32 times debuff, I think if I did that multiplication, I may not have. It's a big debuff. That's huge. And it's only going to get bigger as I put more item levels in. Right now, Hat of Many Spells is at 141. I usually aim for 200 or higher. Ridiculous, folks. Ridiculous. So Presto can get pretty ridiculous. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, folks, we're going to take a short break. We do have about a dozen questions now in the chat. If you have a question, please do like Geek Droid did and put question : in front of your question so Gabe can grab it over here for me. We're going to take a short musical interlude. None of these champions have songs in the game. However, a prior Grand Revel champion, none other than a Human, who is definitely 100% a human and not three kobolds in a trench coat. We have a song for them called Kobolds Are Number One, even though they're definitely a human. Enjoy.
Kobolds are really tough. Kobolds will steal your stuff. Kobolds we like to sing. Kobolds will take your things. Kobolds live underground. Kobolds we run around. Kobolds we like the dark. Kobolds don't need no art. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Kobolds covered in scales. Kobolds, we have cool tails. Kobolds, we're not that short. Kobolds, we're in your port. Kobolds come from dragons. Kobolds train your flagons. Kobolds deserve the praise. Kobolds are really great. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Shiny rocks and bits of string, skulls and bones and slimy things, hunting treasures, lots of fun. Kobolds take your stuff and run. Kobolds we like the best. Kobolds smarter than rest. Kobolds hide in your groovy tree. Kobolds stack tall as you. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Kobolds we fight and hurt. Kobolds we forget words. Kobolds are super fun. Kobolds are number one.
Yeah. Folks, if you haven't heard it yet, there is a jukebox in the game. Bardic Inspirations Volume 1, 2, and 3, including instrumental versions, are all in here. Kobolds Are Number One is one of the songs that made it into the game, but there are probably enough to do like 10, 8, somewhere between 7 and 10 albums, depending on how many songs there are. We made a lot of songs on Bardic Inspiration. All these songs were made by the community in conjunction with Jason Charles Miller and Dylan Wilkes, the Bard and the Scribe, respectively, on a show that used to happen called Bardic Inspiration. And volumes 1 and 2 you can actually buy and take with you on the go. Bardic Inspiration Volume 3 is only available in game. And it has Kobolds Are Number One. I like to play the original acoustic versions on my streams, though. All right, we're going to dive into questions. This was not on topic, but I kind of made it a topic. Authalon asked at the top of the stream, "Loopier?" Yeah, you've probably noticed it is loopier. It is loopier. All right, what do we get on topic? Geek Droid asked, "What are the most efficient ways to get more bounty contracts?" Literally, buy more gold chests. When you earn gems up here, which I've got to go do again because I spent like $1 million, literally, not figuratively. When you spend gems, when you earn gems, you should be spending them in the shop. I clicked on the wrong thing. Over here. On chests. When you're brand new, you start off with silver until you get greener, better gear. And then you switch to golds for the reasons we discussed earlier. And then you buy golds forever, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not on the then switch back to silver bandwagon. I'm all about golds all the time. And because they give lots of those bounty contracts. So yeah, just earn lots of gems, buy lots of gold chests. Because that's how you do it. In fact, I just opened 2,500 the other day. I got about 3,000 small bounty contracts. That's what I spent all my gems on. a little over 300 medium bounty contracts and 30 larges. Now, Electrums will give you some tiny ones, but they don't really matter much. Because they're tiny. It's in the name. Imaginal Disc is the only way to farm Presto Modron components to new bosses as fast as possible. Yeah, you can't just sit on a boss. Sounds like I should add him to a gem farm team. Yeah, if you're worried, if you really want those Modron components, go for it. Here's the thing. Oh, I don't have a core here. Modron components are these pieces down here. They're not these. I know that the chests that drop pipes are called Modron component chests. Blame CNE for that. Component pieces are these pieces that you use to upgrade pipes to a higher rarity and thus a higher power. When you're newer, there's two ways to get them now. One is Presto, and that's the best way when you're newer. But later on, it's to dismantle duplicates like that you don't need. Like I don't need 119 of these white pipes. So I can shave off. I usually keep 100, just to be honest. I do. I usually shave off and do that. And guess what? That got me 19 component pieces. The higher the rarity, the more you get when you dismantle. But when you're new, you shouldn't be dismantling anything. You really shouldn't. You need all the pipes. It is so hard to come by pipes when you're new. Just take them all that you can get. You can, because you get 14 from each through the leveling process from each core, which is not enough to pipe out the core itself. And then you get 4 from, one from each patron each week. I buy those 4 every week, and I am disappointed most of the time. But that's why, between that and then seasons have been delivering a lot for us. That's how you earn them over time. You need to just keep everything you got as a new player. So those Modron component pieces you can use. Just understand that early on, your targets for upgrading are directed pipes only, not undirected. Those are going to be garbage pipes for you eventually. Upgrade directed pipes. And your target is really just to hit 4 flow at each node. You don't need to go over that early on. Getting supercharged higher levels of flow, like into the red flow, that's a late game problem. Just get them full epic, the purple flow, to start, and you can do that with the stuff you get out of the chests, and sometimes even without upgrading. Okay. Jarlaxle, did you watch the show Presto was in back in the 80s? Yeah. It was a bit before my time, so how was it? I mean, some parts of it are a function of the 80s. Like a teenager in a female teenager in a tiny outfit. They're gonna hopefully give her more respectable gear when she comes to this game. So some of it is 80s cartoon shtick, but sometimes that was great. So it was fun. It wasn't around a long time because in the 80s, the 80s was still home to the satanic panic where everybody thought D&D was about summoning devils. And I think it was 60 Minutes that literally interviewed someone and said, and the person that was doing the interview said, yeah, when I was out in the field, I actually saw somebody summon a devil. 60 Minutes. What? That didn't happen. Not literally, maybe figuratively, like they were a spellcaster and summoned a devil in the game. That caused what is now known as the Satanic Panic across the United States. So that cartoon didn't last a whole lot. But you can watch it now online, I believe. I believe it's somewhere. A Lurking Writer will know where you can watch it, I'm sure. I'll just throw that on Lurking Writer. Imaginal Disc. When Vi spherifies an enemy, does a new enemy spawn in the next wave to replace it? No. It's still your enemy. That sphere is still my enemy. Is it possible to have 100 normal enemies stacked up as a sphere, but my team too low DPS to clear the screen? No. Is it possible? Sure, you can create that situation. You could create that situation. Yeah. Up and I was the devil. Jeez. Valdemar, stop. This is how we get conspiracy theories. Geek Droid, do you know of any speed formation builds where it's better to use Vi instead of Melf? Generally, if I'm trying to go fast, I'm not using Melf. I'm using Vi. And that's because Melf's speed effect is random as to what it is, and sometimes it's just not necessarily helpful or useful. So for general overall speed usage, I tend to go for Vi. Melf, I kind of put Melf in the like if you don't have Vi, then you can use Melf. But once you get Vi, it feels better with Vi in my opinion. Because of Melf's randomness. But Melf is great for one specific thing, and that's kind of also the thing that Tatiana as a speed champion is good as, is that function where he spawns extra enemies with every wave. That can let you complete those, kill 30,000 monstrosities super fast if you get them itemized really well. That tends to be how those two champions get used most. Or I should say used best for speed. Sir Lance, what if you don't click Vi's ultimate a second time within the 30 seconds? Then the cockatrice just flies off. It doesn't go exploding. Makai Ukami just got here. Can Vi make every enemy a crystal? On normal levels, yes. Do crystals count as enemies? Yeah. Yeah. They're still enemies. They're just a crystal sphere. They can't attack you. Which makes them. There is a famed type of gold farming called Azaka farming, and Vi's crystal spheres can be useful in that. Maybe one day we'll do a tutorial show about gold farming again, and we'll talk about that. But yeah. Even though they're in the same slot, the crystal sphere will stick around if you pull Vi out, so it can be useful. Logger Tiger UK, what are the optimum number of item levels that Vi, Uriah, and Presto need? I don't know. I don't like optimal. Here's what I will tell you. Because of how diminishing returns works in this game in terms of item levels, the first 100 levels that you put on it, first 100 average item levels you put on a champion are the strongest 100. After that, because that's 100% of your power if you want to think of it like that way. After it's not really, people are gonna get mad at that, but after that it takes way more item levels to get the same burst of power that those first 100 did, and then it takes even more to get the next, etc. So that's how diminishing returns works on item levels in this game. So usually when people are like, what kind of average item level floor should I target for my champions first in terms of the minimum power you need to get people to? For general champions, 100 as an average item level is a good floor to start with. Now, speed champions can have different answers because if they have item support for their speed, that might matter. I find that Vi's item support should have had a cap on it, and should still get a cap on it, because you can't spawn like 5 or 6 or 7 or more enemies in a single wave. You just can't. She doesn't create extra enemies in a wave. She just makes the enemies that were in that wave spawn alongside the first one. So that one, it's kind of wasting item levels to go super high on her for that speed effect. Now, she does have buffs and other things that you might want other item levels for, but that's kind of up to you as to how far you can or want to go. Geekdroid back again. By my reading of the achievement for Brother Uriah, the feats don't help. That's not true. Achievement about triggering the ability again after it has ended. Yes. And the feats extend the ability link, so they mean it will take longer to get the achievement again. It is my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, that the counting up of 100 attacks happens while it's still going? But if I am wrong, then yeah, the feats don't help at all. Then you just need attack speed. Ultimately, attack speed is the best answer. But that was my understanding. But I'll be honest, I don't use Brother Uriah that much because I don't usually run evil DPS. But we can figure this out real quick. Well, this is going to take a while. We just missed him. He was here and we just missed him. If this ticks to 100 and then doesn't continue to tick up a new 100, then the feats don't matter. Then the feats don't matter, just like the points on whose line is it anyway. So we'll leave this up and we'll see. Occasionally I am wrong, and it's usually because I just don't use that champion a ton. Valdemar asks, have you heard if Dungeon Master will be joining this affiliation? They haven't said anything publicly, so that's the only way I would be able to talk about it. It's the only way I would be able to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, that would be nice. You would think. He was on the Saturday morning cartoon too, so it feels like he should be part of the Saturday morning squad, but I don't know. Maybe they don't want that. Wicked One, Vice Speed Effect. Is there a useful or recommended target cap for item levels? Like I said, I think the first 100 item levels are great. Anything beyond that is just you're really boosting her buffing functionality rather than her speed, because you just can't create. She doesn't create extra enemies like Melf creates extra enemies. Hold on, folks. I just want to make sure I have these questions in the queue. There we go. Okay. Krakenox, I started 4 days ago. Welcome to the game. 1 day in the normal adventures, then went straight on to the event. Yeah. As for changing the favor from the event to the normal adventures, do you suggest doing some normal adventures to spend normal favor before turning the event one in? A lot of people do. I don't. Because you're brand new, you might want to do a couple deep pushes. Just because, so the way the favor thing works is it's a multiplier on your base campaign favor. So if you have like single digit favor or even double digit favor, you might want to at least try to get triple or quadruple digit favor or higher, right? Just with a couple of deep pushes. You'll have a week after the event ends to do that, or you can do some during the event in your downtime when you're out of tokens. But the thing is it's a favor multiplier. So, let's say you have 1,000 favor, and then you get E10 favor in the event. That's for every E01 favor in an event, you get a 10% multiplier. So that's 100% against the main campaign. So you're doubling your main campaign. You'd go to 2,000 favor immediately if you use it right away. You don't have to go higher. Now, I know you could raise it to 5,000, and hey, I get 5,000, but here's the thing. In the runs that you would be doing to get to 5,000, you could have had your base favor, that's your base gold find, doubled to 2,000. Instead of leaving 1,000, you would have gotten to 5,000 faster. Because it's a multiplier on a multiplier, it doesn't really matter, but it usually feels better to people when it's a higher number. So again, if you're a single digit, double digit, maybe even triple digit, if you can get into like quad digits or 1,000 or higher, then you're fine. Again, it's a multiplier and a multiplier, and you want to use it like if you're brand new, yeah, dump it into Sword Coast and enjoy. But you're gonna have a week to wait afterwards. I just tend to be like, wow, just do it right away. Okay, so I was wrong. The feats aren't going to matter because it is counting down time until the attacks happen again. So just aim for attack speed. Thank you for pointing that out, because I really don't use Brother Raya that much. Geek Droid, much appreciated. All right. They really should have it. They really should have it tick up. While it feels like that's the way it should function, but maybe sometime in the future. We're out first. Has anyone asked about getting the Modron chess pieces with Presto for the event? I mean, asked what? I mean, that's what Presto does, is give you Modron chest pieces, or Modron component pieces specifically. So if you have a specific question, you know the specific question. Back to general questions. Evil Emperor Zerg, anything fall down over there? I hope not. I haven't been outside. Did something happen? Did we get? I know a storm came in last night, but it wasn't. Don't jinx. Don't jinx me, because we literally just this past week, the project manager that was bringing our home back after the storm from last year did the final touches on paint and putting some cables back up. So don't jinx me. Don't jinx me. Throw first. How to make it work with the bosses? You just have him in. It's a 10% chance with no bad luck protection. You could kill 10,000 bosses and never see a Modron component piece drop when there's no bad luck protection. Or you could get one off 1,000 bosses in a row. But it is set at a 10% chance. And anecdotally, on launch day, I did just over 1,000 areas, and it averaged out to like 10.2% drop rate for me. I'm currently sitting at 128. Hey, I've gotten one on this screen, on this stream. Now, we've only gone through 4 bosses, so that's a lot better than the 10% drop rate. Oh no, wait. We've gone through 8 bosses, so it's still better than the 10% drop rate. But I've seen one on this stream. But you have to. It's the first time you kill a boss in an adventure. It comes out of the boss bag. You can't just sit on a boss level and kill. A lot of people think that, but that's not how boss loot works. That's not how any boss loot works. That's not how gems work off bosses. That's not how red gems from Black Viper work. And it's definitely not how the Modron component pieces work. They come out of the bag. You only get the bag the first time you kill the boss. So you just have to push through. Like Presto in a gem farming formation would help you earn Modron component pieces. But sitting on a level and just trying to kill lots of bosses on that same level doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. If they'd built in some kind of thing, like 10% additively until you get it, that would have been nice, but it isn't. It's just that it's 10% chance. And they didn't give us any way to change that. So, Geek Droid, on newer accounts that have many champions with gaps, like empty white and green items, and don't have a big stash of Electrum chests, is it still best to use Electrums before silver specifics? Yes. You still want to try. But you can combine Electrums with silvers. What you don't want to do, really, efficiently speaking, is use your golds until you have... use your named golds until you have green or better gear on that specific champion. Because here's the thing. Every stream like this one that's on the Cena Games channel is going to give you an Electrum chest. Plus lots of other streams and things on other channels and places. You can find all those codes in the official Discord and the hashtag combinations channel. On average, you're usually seeing 30 a week. On average. It can go up and down sometimes. So lots of chests, lots of chances of free gear. Sneaky Dark Sniper. Why haven't you bought Jeremy in the gem store? That's a long story. That's a long story. How can we make it a short story? I love Jeremy. On new player accounts, when I start new player accounts, I buy Jeremy right away. But I don't like the things that CNE did around the release, right before the release of Jeremy, and the way they treated the people who were really trying to get Jeremy in the game, because this was a community-led initiative. And so I don't buy Jeremy on my main account. And the bonus lets me show people that, hey, look, you can buy familiars in the gem shop. Cautious Kong, and to use Formation Save Manager, and is there a strategy to using it early game to help clear areas faster? I'm not sure what strategy that. Look, I use it to save my formations. So when I this was Presto's first thing. So the first thing I did was build a speed formation to start off and do my first run with, and then I use it to start all my adventures with. So I save that. It just makes it real easy. Then I have a bay formation, which means this is a Carlock pushing formation because Carlock is bay. And then I have a broken formation, and that has to do with a bug in the game with debuffs, and I just made those, right? And then I don't have to sit there and so I guess it could help you clear levels faster simply because you're not having to sit there and manually put everybody in the right place every time. But that's what the formation save manager is for, is just, make formations, name them appropriately, and yay, right? Let's see if we can see. We got the cockatrice. Oh, there's the tornado. Nice. This is the great play. Man, that wall ends up perfectly to kill Nanny Poo Poo, folks. Brother Uriah coming in big. Coming in big. Rainbow Loon, I noticed in Time Gates that you get a silver chest for the champion every 100 areas. In the variants, not the free play. Not true. Not true. Does it affect the silver chest you get every 100 areas in a free play? Time gates. Okay, first off, time gates are a different system than events. They work differently than events. They are a champion and gear delivery system, but they function differently. So don't compare time gates to events. They're two different things. In a time gate, you get two. Here, let me pop over here so we can see what you're talking about. In a time gate, what it'll give you 2 adventures, and that's what these target numbers are for, is the 2 base adventures. And then the third thing it's going to give you is a variant. It doesn't talk about the variant at all. And each of those delivers you a gold chest for completion. Because there is no tokens or anything, you don't have to grind free plays or anything. What they did for if you want silver chests, because maybe you don't. What they did is they made it so that every 100 unique areas you go, like climbing a ladder, they'll give you just a silver chest for free. It is part of the free plays. It's in any part of a time gate, the adventures, the variants, or the free plays. But what you can't do is if you get to 305, you get 3 silver chests. And then you go to a variant and you go to 200. Well, you get nothing. Because you didn't go to 400. Because you already went to 100, 200, and 300. And then you got the chests for that. Now you got to get to 400 somewhere. Right? You have to keep climbing in a time gate to get more silver chests. It's a weird mechanic. I don't recommend trying to work hard for that in a time gate. Grab what comes easy. Grab those 3 gold chests, and however far you happen to push, great. And bail when you're new. There's just no reason to push deep. There are people who push deep when it's easy. Yeah, fine. But when it's rough, don't worry about it. Just get the things done, get your gold chests and your champion, and leave. But that is very vastly different from an event. And in an event, again, you farm free plays, and by farm them, I mean you just have to complete area 50, and then bounce. So when I'm doing automation, I set my Modron to 51, and I just let it cycle until I run out of tokens. That's how I got all those chests. Sneaky Dart Sniper, does using speed potions help with timed abilities or achievements like Brother Uriah's or BBEG's? No, because those are functioning unless it specifically says it's real time. Any ability in the game with a time component is based off game time. There are some variant rules in this game that are based off real world time. Even then, they don't use actual real world time. They still pause when you transition from one screen to another. So it's an interesting thing, but they use CNE time. So no, they don't help with that kind of stuff. Melbacrawl, do the components accumulate in the background when you reach the limit for the next... when you increase the limit, is I think maybe what you mean? Yeah, I mean, look, if you just park... what I'm going to do is park Presto after this event. I'm going to park him in a background party. My background parties are usually specifically patron parties. So I will make him a part of my saved formations for these limited patron parties in the background. And he'll just do his thing and slowly accumulate component pieces for me. And if I happen to cap him every day, his cap will go up, and then hopefully he'll accumulate more. Because I have I'm sitting on over 10,000 component pieces, and I'm not using them for anything. I'm not worried personally about farming his component pieces and capping them. Again, it's kind of more useful for newer players who don't have access to component pieces easily. But at some point, it'll be worth it for me to just sit down and grind them out, because it'll be a big stack of them if I haven't capped it, right? All right. We got about 15 minutes left, folks, and I am out of questions. If I missed your question, now's the time to ask it again. Now's the one time you could ask it again. Otherwise, hey, fire some more questions at us. I did not. I reset this, and it's working just fine. They made some changes to background progress / offline progress recently, and it's supposed to fix some of the edge case scenarios where it would get into a bad state. Should be running more reliably, and I'm wondering if... No, I don't know why that one stopped. I've got the familiar up here. This also, if you have a familiar to spare, putting one up here on auto progress at the top right, it usually helps from things getting wonky as well. Usually. Phoenixian Ultimatum. Are the 3 champs a patron calls for the Beat X Zones with challenges pulled from a predetermined list? Or is it 3 random qualifying champions? They're predetermined lists, and there's 2 lists. One list is core champions. It's going to be core champions only, because you might not have the others, right? So there's a default list that are core champions. The second list is a set of 3 event or evergreen champions that are predetermined. These are predetermined lists. Those were made by CNE and put in the machine to be potentially used. So yeah. Shadowy Moon. How are you getting your familiars to not do the attack animation? It's actually a setting. It's a kind of a hidden setting because it's under graphics. Disable flashing lighting effects. The very bottom one there is click touch animations on familiars. Because when it's on, if I turn this back on, you'll see there's a little flash here when they're hitting. And so it's considered part of the flashing system. Phrasing. So I turn those off just to be a little more stream friendly for people that are watching. So there aren't a lot of flashes on the screen. CDR Toast. Is that Commander Toast? Sir. As a new player, I have a small pile of blacksmith scroll thingies. Should I spread them evenly or target specific gear on specific champions? As a new player, should probably just hold on to them unless you own Briv or Human. In which case, you put them on them. When you're newer, you don't really need to use your blacksmithing contracts, and I do highly recommend you save them for a speed champion like Briv or Human. They are the 2 most important speed champions in the game that have itemization. Because putting those blacksmithing contracts on them could boost their speed effect, and boosting their speed effect means you finish areas faster, finish adventures faster, and finishing adventures faster means you earn more gems, and earning more gems means you're buying more chests, and buying more chests means you're getting more blacksmithing contracts, and blacksmithing contracts means you're getting more item levels and their speed effect. It's this loop, it's this snowball that pays off huge. Now, where you don't want to put blacksmithing contracts is on your core champions, those starting 12 champions like Brunor and Celeste, or evergreens like Hitch and Dritzt, because they're going to get tons of item levels off all of these regular silver and gold chests, the silver chests that you're earning just from playing the game, killing bosses, and the golds that you're buying with your gems, because that's how it should work. Yeah, they'll be just fine. So you target blacksmithing contracts in general on event champions. And that's any champion that you earn in an event or a time gate. But hold them for Briv or Human, in my opinion. Lurking Rider. Open-ended question. We're going to go to Krakenox. I know at the beginning of the stream you said spending more than 30 minutes before resetting is the wrong way to play the game. Specifically, spending more than 30 minutes sitting on a single level farming gold to try to earn gold to get to higher levels. That is the wrong way to play the game. The game doesn't work that way, really. I find myself spending 2 hours on runs before reaching the wall. That's fine. Then when I check the progress I made is about 10%. Spending more time only brings up about 1 to 5% an hour. Yeah, that's why you don't sit there. Is it supposed to be about 10% progress? That number, don't even pay attention to that number, really. After that amount of progress, it varies. Still talking as a new player. So, here's the thing. What you're worried about as a new player is, are you going as far as you can go? Which means, is your formation the best pushing formation you can make? That's what you need to learn as a new player. The percentage that you're getting from your increase, or even the flat number, those aren't necessarily the goals. If you're specifically trying to push deep for gold, you might have things you're trying to reach for. But the thing is the longer you sit on an adventure trying to increase that percentage or flat amount, the more kind of efficiency you're wasting. Because if you have a 10% increase, you could just be resetting, starting a new adventure with that increased gold find, and earning more and quicker, and thus pushing through the adventure faster and potentially pushing further. Hopefully, 10%, you're earning more than 10%. You can find a way to earn more than 10% if you're in single digit numbers. I feel like you should be able to, and it's probably a function, like you said, you're at EO6. That's not great. If you're not earning it, at least if you're using scientific notation and you're not getting at least a whole E value on a deep run for gold, that's kind of a problem. It means there's maybe something wrong with your pushing formation. And you can get help from that in the Discord or on the subreddit. If you show like a screenshot of your formation, that can help a lot. People can make recommendations. You can try it out, but really experimenting and trying things. I've got a guide called Formations 101, utilizing that to try to help you build formation, and then while you're at your wall, at that place that you've got the furthest at, trying to make adjustments there and swapping different champions in or around. That's the best way you can try to get further. Also, using potions when you're near your wall is better than at the start of your run when it comes to things like gold find and damage and stuff, because you're going to be fine at the start of the run. You need that towards the end. Speed potions are really the ones that you would start your run off with if you want to get through quicker, but those also might be better at the end. So just know potions are usually more effective at the end, and they can help boost that total too. But use those after you're really you've made some updates to your pushing formation and you're going further, because that's what's going to get you gold, is pushing deeper. So if you're not, if you're not able to get a full E value, something's wrong. Or if you're at, E10 or higher, that might just be the max of your power. But if you're in the single digits, there's probably room to grow, and you need just a little bit of help, probably with your formation. Valamur Night Road, with removal of the Narak Ultimate minigame, be a huge quality of life improvement. Well, yeah, then hopefully that would mean the replacement of some way to earn key points that's actually functional in the game, because the minigame just isn't. The minigame just isn't. Elu0023, how can I increase the font size? You can't. The UI scale option doesn't really help. Yeah, that's it. This isn't the game was not designed with a separate font scaling mechanism because of the way it's in these limited size boxes, because if you scrolled it up, it would just break everything and it would be all horrible and maybe twist and not show up or something. So the game just isn't designed that way. So if you're running it like a 4K on a PC, it's not gonna be great. And if you're on mobile, it's probably not going to be great. It just wasn't designed that way. I have mine. Where are we at? Display. I run 1600 by 900, and my UI scale is 125%, just so I can make the boxes big so I can read the numbers easy. But as you can see, it's filling up and kind of, in some cases, pushing the graphics off the side, and so yeah. Yeah, that's the bet you can do. Best you can do. You're welcome, B-Berry. B-Berry's talking about my guides over on the subreddit. If you do not know, I have over 160 guides for the game over on the Idle Champions subreddit in the wiki. I just the bot will put a link in a moment. And I just put up a new one recently. Well, obviously I put up the event one and Presto's guide, but I put up a new one for patrons. If you're getting started on patrons, I have a guide for you now, a written guide for you. There's obviously all kinds of video tutorials like this one over on the CNE Games YouTube channel under Gaarawarr's Guides, not GG2E, that's the Q&A show, but Gaarawarr's Guides is all the tutorial shows. And we've talked about most things in the game at this point. Because I've been doing this for years. Lurking Rider with the question we're going to end on, probably, maybe. Is there anything about the game that you'd like to express an opinion on while you've got a captive audience? I mean, I do that on my own channel, to be fair. They were trying to field me a softball if we needed more questions. I will say this, for those of you who don't watch Dev Insights is on Thursdays, and features Dave and Justin, the founders of Codename Entertainment, and the designers of Idle Champions. They share a lot of information about things that are coming up in the game, or going on, and you can voice your concerns, you can ask questions about the development, etc., etc., etc. They have stated that hopefully February 8th, which is this coming Thursday, they'll be sharing a lot of information about upcoming content in Idle Champions. So whenever they make that kind of announcement, it's good to kind of pay attention. If you can be there, great. Otherwise, try to watch the VOD. You can get the VODs here on this channel under videos. Find the VODs of Dev Insights. But February 8th should be an interesting day. February 7th is the sunset for the Switch, which I think, here's an opinion. While I've got a captive audience, I think it's going to be good for the game. It's sad for Switch people, but Switch people weren't playing a great version of the game, and now, hopefully they will move to a better version of the game. I recommend PC, so either Steam or Epic. Those tend to be the most stable versions. Steam is the original version, so everything it's just kind of built around being a PC game. And then also there's like a price increase for some things, a small one that's happening on the 7th for things from the shop. But so the February 8th is going to be, going to be big new information. And with kind of Steam, with Switch going away, the dev time that they were focusing on Switch now hopefully can be focused on the other platforms and the game in general. So, there's the potential that this could mark an improvement in updates and fixes and things and new systems, just because they'll have more available dev time, right? So that's what I'm crossing my fingers for this year. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today. Thank you to all of you for asking questions. Thank you to Gabe for grabbing all the questions. No more streams this weekend on this channel. They return on Tuesdays. Tuesdays is kind of their start of their stream week. However, I stream over on my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. You can find it here in the chat by clicking on my name. And I stream Idle Champions on Mondays and Wednesdays, a show called Idle Chatter, and we literally do talk about all kinds of different stuff. While I either do random things in the game on my main account, this one, in-game stuff, or we make guides. I made that patron guide live on stream. So join us over there. You can come ask questions at any time, Mondays and Wednesdays. But then other days, Tuesday, Friday, Saturdays, yes, today, Saturday, in about an hour-ish, I'll be streaming other games on my channel. Right now, we're currently playing through Cook Serve Delicious 3. So if you want to watch me get frustrated in a food service job, tune in. I should say frustrated again. I did food service in college. All right, that's going to be it. The song we're going out on is for, Havilar originally arrived at Grand Revel. And there's a song called Brimstone Angels Go, 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 which is for Farida and Havilar. That's what we're going to leave on. Have a good weekend, everybody.
And I met the devil. It was a cold and stormy day. I was slightly disheveled, but I felt a spark there anyway. It taught me Eldritch Blast, and I was sure this love would last. They all told me no, but he's the devil that I know. But now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Summon the devil. It was such a boring day. He wasn't that special. I was glad to walk away. But when we got kicked out, you needed me to bail you out. I raised my blade and sent devils to their grave. But now we're on the road, and we got so far to go. Brimstone angels fly together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Run someone before we find ourselves. From the mountain peaks to the lowest dungeon dells, I have your back through all of the 9 hells, best of sisters. But now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go.
was so awesome. I teared up.